call the meeting to order at 5:15. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us for the Tuesday, November 24th regular session. Mr. Zerlo, would you please conduct a roll call?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Conroy.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Yes, here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Perrier.
Here.
Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Rosenquist has asked to be excused this evening. Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
All legislators have received a copy of the minutes of the November 10th, 2020 session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
So a motion by Legislator Hall, second by Legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak now? I don't see anybody. Am I missing anyone? We'll get to John. Okay, no one there. Committee reports. Each legislator chairs one of the 10 committees. I'm going to call upon the chairperson of each committee in alphabetical order by committee, starting with Buildings and Grounds and Legislator Perrier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Building and Grounds Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Building and Grounds Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 14th at 4:30 p.m. End of report. Now, I'm going to add that I talked to Jim today, unless something comes up, we're talking about canceling this meeting, so we'll let everybody know.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add, sir?
Okay.
Children and Family Services, Legislator Potiker.
Thank you, Chairman. The Children and Family Services Committee has not met since the last regular session. Depending on the number of agenda items, the next Children and Family Services meeting, originally scheduled for December 1st, will have to be pulled to accommodate scheduled budget meetings. End of report.
Thank you. Finance, Legislator Timmons.
Mr. Chairman, I've got
Oh, you got Chris's report? Okay, I'm sorry, Michael, thank you.
So on behalf of Legislator Rosenquist, the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met on Tuesday, November 12th. Greg Campbell, Board of Elections Commissioner, distributed a handout of the annual chargeback budget for 2020 and stated the charges are based on the number of registered voters in that town, along with a number of poll sites and poll workers needed. Also, Commissioner Dyer was present as well. There were a few town supervisors, 3 as a matter of fact, from towns of Saranac, Blackbrook, and Dannemora, that attended the meeting to discuss the possibility of developing contracts for the election process going forward. The committee would like to continue this discussion with the various municipalities. We did hear back since that meeting that the supervisors have met and are asking that we move forward with that process. Resolution 735 through 739 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. And the next Economic Development and County Operations Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, December 8th at 5 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Finance, Legislator
Yes,
Timmons.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was pulled on Resolution 740 through 742 on today's agenda. The next Finance Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, November 30th at 5:15 p.m. to discuss the 2021 recommended budget. A subsequent meeting for further discussion on the budget has been scheduled for Tuesday, December 1st at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Health, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Health Committee has not met since the last regular session. John Canoza, the Director of Public Health, is present to provide a brief update. Depending on the number of agenda items, the next health meeting, originally scheduled for December 1st, will have to be pulled to accommodate scheduled budget meetings. End of report.
Thank you. Does John have? Yep. Director Canoza?
Thank you, Chairman Henry. Thank you, Mike, Patty. Just give you, I always start with the case updates first. We have, as of today, 11 new cases. We had a stretch there of about 5 or 6 days with single digits, at which I'm a simple man, I shoot for those single-digit days of new cases, so. SUNY has gone home, the majority of the students have gone home, so our cases have dropped down significantly, new cases per day. We're at a total of 478 total lab confirmed positive cases since the beginning of this in March. But I should also know a good thing. We've had quite a few of our prior positive cases recover just recently. 56 just recovered as of 2 nights ago. So that's a big number. They came off our active cases. We were sitting on 94. Prior to that, we had as many as 114 active cases that we were monitoring. That was our all-time high about a week and a half ago. So right now we're at 59 active cases in isolation. Specifically, SUNY has 16 students that are still in either quarantine or isolation, waiting to clear that and then go home, hopefully, so.
So at our meeting this afternoon, John, they mentioned those would be stepped out
Yes,
in the next 3 days. Those
yes,
16
and by
will be done.
Saturday, they'll only have one, so they're looking quite well right now, so, but they're still suffering the after effects of this. They had a lot of kids in the last month and a half, maybe 2 months, mostly off campus. I did confirm that with President Inietti. Juniors and seniors having a good time. So they went out with a bang in the last part of the semester. So it was a little rough for everybody. So anyway, we're sitting at 59 active cases now. One number that poked out at me, as of October 22nd, we had a total of 222 total positive cases since it started. So right now we have 478. You realize that the biggest part of our emergency in Clinton County has been the last month and a half. So very, very busy. We've gotten more cases in that month and a half, about 5 weeks, than we had all of prior 7 months. So anyway, the 2 metrics we're watching right now are very closely that would put us in the yellow zone. Fortunately, we got out of those high numbers that we had a week and a half ago, and now we're trending down, looking nice and smooth. Our specifically rolling positive rate not equal to 3.5 or higher for 10 days. Right now we're at 1.2, so we're looking good. The other one is average daily new cases not greater than 12 for our population of 81,000 and change for 7 days. So right now on that, again, 12 is the number, we're at 7.6, so we're doing well. That number, we were at 15 for 1 or 2 days. So we were flirting with a disaster a little bit there, so not good. So we're trying to stay away from that. We've got to keep these numbers single digits, new cases per day, that's all I care about. So with the upcoming Thanksgiving weekend coming up, this makes me nervous because everybody's getting together. It's socializing time. It's a nervous time. I'm all in favor of socializing, but this year we're hoping people stay small, stay local. So our county isolation and quarantine team, our staff are all relocated in our big meeting room. They need to sit together, just like we're sitting right here, and be able to talk about, oh, I got that case, I've got that contact, here you go, just like this. It works really well. They were over at the IM building at Clinton Community College for some time in the beginning of this crisis, and it worked well, so we made that happen for them. They're still buried with work. They're doing a lot of contact tracing. The state virtual contact tracing team, or the committee, I should say, VCC, they're still catching up very slowly. They're still behind the 8 ball, but hopefully in a week from now they'll be able to help us out a lot more with contact tracing, those phone calls. So vaccination plan. This vaccination plan was submitted last Monday. Margaret Allen, Mark LaFountain, our FEP coordinator, worked this out and made it all work. A lot of it's template. It was submitted, it's ready to go, so we're in line to receive vaccine. The big question is, how will we receive such vaccine? Right now, we can get it from the state directly, or the ChemPack model, which is the hospital gets it and then doles it out to the health department. But make no mistake, we will be running points of distribution, pods, pod clinics, at the field house, at the Crate Center, and hopefully also the senior citizens facility over there just down the street from us a little wee bit. So more is better. We're also looking at pharmacies from the feds. They're working with big chain pharmacies to do vaccinations. More is better. More people getting it out to the seniors perhaps is a good thing. So at this point in time, we're looking at a phased approach for that vaccine coming out. We're hearing words right now, like in 2 weeks we could be getting a subset of the total package of vaccines that we need for our county. Phase 1 is healthcare workers, long-term care facility workers, and most at-risk long-term care patients. Phase 2, first responders, police, teachers, public health workers, there you go, grocery store workers. Phase 3, individuals over 65, including those with high risk of potential complications. Phase 4 and 5 is all other essential workers and healthy adults and children. So those are the phases. I believe that's the way it's going to be coming out, because clearly they do not, the feds do not have the whole set needed for 400 million people across the United States at this time. So it's going to be doled out. That's the way I believe it's going to come. We just don't know if it's coming to us or to the hospital, and quite frankly, the state's still figuring that out. So anyway, it will be coming. We will be doing pod clinics, okay? And not just one. We'll be doing several. So, and over the phase approach as we get the vaccines. That's about it for me, I think. I really got not much else. Environmental's doing a lot of the phone call handling right now to take the burden off the churches so that they can handle the contact tracing. And that's pretty much it. We're just trying to keep up. It's day to day, week to week. That's all we're doing. Hope for, pray for single digit new cases every day. That keeps us reasonable and able to keep up. Okay? So if you're out in public, see people, don't be afraid to tell them. You know, be like me, you know, put your mask on. Wait, what are you doing? You know, what's the matter with you? You know, it's a good thing. So that's all I got, sir.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? Yes, sir.
A good question. What's the update with the testing site with the Arizona Ave change?
Very good. That's a good point. The CAPH is looking to move their testing site from our beautiful Turf 13 Connecticut Road facility to the Wellness Center. They're just working out the kinks now. Hopefully by mid-December, or the second week of December, I should say, they're going to be live there. So they're going to do a soft opening next week, or I think a dry run next week, then a soft opening the week after that. They're just not sure. There's a lot of things up in the air right now, but they're working towards that. That 213 facility is just a gorgeous facility, the county building there. But when you open both doors to let a car in and a car out, there's a wind tunnel coming through there. I don't know. I worked inspection outside during the winter for 15 years. Never bothered me. So, but they're going to move inside. Okay, you know, so be it. So.
Anything else? Yes.
As everyone is aware, John, my establishment was closed up for 14 days due to a client having the COVID-19. 28 people, we notified the health department of 28 people. And how we did that is I have a camera in my bar. I have cameras all over the place, and we know everybody that was in there.
Oh, that's good.
They did tracing. It's nice to report tonight to John. His committee of tracing people did a fantastic job. And as of tonight, and we only got to go till Saturday, knock on wood, not one single person caught the COVID from
There
this
you go.
gentleman that had
There
it.
you go. They keep
All
pushing
good
it.
news.
Bobby, you keep pushing the mask, keeping them separated and stuff. Don't let nobody get too close and be hugging and kissing and stuff like that. That's what it's all about.
That's what it
Man, I'm
is.
telling you, you know? I'm all in favor of hugging and kissing, but not now, you know?
Your company did a fantastic job.
Thank you very much, Bobby. I will let them know that.
Thank you.
Legislator Dennis.
John, I actually put a phone app on my phone for tracing, like if I guess if I come within.
Yes,
So
yes.
have you had any?
I've got the
With your
same
own-
app on my phone and it doesn't tell me anything. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe you
Is
let
that-
better
So I guess
log.
that's a good thing?
Yeah.
Is that, okay, I
Yeah,
wasn't sure
I
if
hope
your
so.
contact tracers actually have access.
Because the state, all that information is shipped to the state of New York. The
Okay.
state of New York is populating that app.
Yeah,
Okay,
very good. Thank you, Mike. Yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
So obviously with a denser population, that app probably gets more action.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Not my
any action
phone,
on mine, so I'm old, maybe I'm not good with it, I don't know, you know, so.
John.
Have you heard of any repeat people getting it after recovering? I'm just wondering how the people who've already got it and recovered, how they fit in the food
I
chain
have
as far
heard,
as-
anecdotally, don't hold me on it, but I have heard about 2 people in all of the county. I mean, they've done over 60,000 tests in Clinton County, and some of them are, you know, been tested more than once. So, but that's still a high number for our population of 81,000. So, a couple more months, we're gonna be closing in on that. But I've only heard about 2 people that were reinfected. So that's all I know.
So they'll be in the same area on their food, on the food chain as far as getting
Yes.
the inoculations, even
Yeah.
though they've had it, they still,
Yes,
wherever
we
they fall.
need to get them vaccinated, because as I understand, there's varying, opinions on the matter, but being, immune to it, the immunity for it lasts a very short time, that's the word on the street, so, and, local doctors also
Yeah, that's
confirm
the
that.
immunity of having already got it, hopefully the vaccine immunity.
Yes,
will-
yes, we
will
want the
last.
vaccine, those people would definitely be in line for the vaccine
Right,
as
but
well,
the
so,
vaccine immunity, hopefully, do they know yet how
No.
long that will be?
no,
An
no.
annual thing, or?
I anecdotally, annually is what I heard.
I've heard the same thing, so this is occurring so fast, and nobody's ever done this before. I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of the work that I'm doing, I'm winging it. I'm winging it based on just sound judgment and working with some good staff that know, where the direction we go. We've just never gone through this before, And I don't think there's too many of our ancestors that are alive that did go through it, So, yep.
Thank
So
you.
I just, and I think you and I spoke about this, but I think it's worth pointing out that when the SUNY did its exit testing, we saw these rise in numbers.
Yeah.
Now, I bet you most, if not all, of those positive tests were asymptomatic folks.
Oh, absolutely.
So had that testing not played, just think about those people going to Long Island or remaining in our community. It was a positive thing to get these positives, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And on that note, Mike, Mark and I went to see a week ago, the school superintendents with a little more than a gentle nudge to push them to take perhaps the extra week off after Thanksgiving and after New Year's holiday off to allow their children, if they're gonna get sick with their Aunt Tilly hugging them and kissing them from Westchester coming up here, let them percolate at home. Don't let them come to school, what Mike said, asymptomatic, hey, have a good day, and then start spreading into the school. I'd rather it spread to 5 or 6 of your family members than spread to 60, 120, 240, you know what I mean? So, and the schools, I think they heard us, Mark, but I think a couple of extra cases in their school districts kind of pushed them over the edge, so they went in that direction.
No, I think you did a great job on that, John. You've done a great job all the way through.
Appreciate it.
On all parts of this. I think one of the things that sometimes gets missed at the school that we talked about at those meetings, that maybe the legislators haven't thought of, is that it's not necessarily the number, like in the general community, it's very important if you have what your numbers are, whether you have 2 or 50.
Yeah.
In the schools, you can say, well, we only had 1 case in the school, so therefore everything's fine. Well, theoretically, that's okay until you get to the contact tracing part, where we had one school that only had 1 case, but we wound up contact tracing 120.
125 from the city of Plattsburgh with the gymnast.
So that affects
Yeah.
125 people, students, staff, 1 case, that were on the bus, were in the classroom, in the hallway, was a gym class, whatever. And now they can be affected by that. If you get 2, obviously, exponentially, the numbers can change. So the schools are a bit unique, that even if you have low numbers, it's still a struggle to control.
And a struggle for us to contact trace, isolate, and quarantine. 125 were isolated, were quarantined up from the city of Plattsburgh School District. So he closed, Jay LeBrun, superintendent, understood everything right after that. He got the gist. So, and just by the way, the schools are doing a tremendous job in class. Kids are not getting it in class. They're getting it with after-school activities, sports. That one girl was a gymnast, okay, and then she went to a Peru school meet, and somebody over there got it, okay? And the after school and weekend activities like going to big birthday parties. That's how they're getting sick. They're not getting it in the classroom, okay? Very few, hardly any, are getting it in the school. So the schools are doing a stellar job, so.
The only thing I'd add too is, it seems with the vaccine, as the director was saying, maybe in a couple weeks, that could be out and being distributed within New York State. I don't know that, but we'll see. But there's a tier system, don't forget. The state has tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We are in tier 3. I guess it's theoretically possible that our first priority in Tier 3 is still lower than the priorities in Tier 1 and Tier 2. So I guess theoretically, I'm trying to flesh this out, is if you're in Tier 1 and you're a first responder, you could be a 72-year-old diabetic female in Tier 3, our area, and not get the vaccine, because the vaccine is going to go to first Tier 1 places, and then Tier 2 places, and then Tier 3 places. So I don't know how that distribution is going to be worked out. I don't know what the state's doing right now. I'm sure they're talking about all this. So it might be that the vaccine arrives some places, Tier 1 places, New York City, Suffolk County, due to their numbers, and that's based on their
That's
numbers.
right.
If you have low numbers, then you could be, even though if you're in Tier 1, you get the shots first, the vaccine first. If you're in Tier 3, maybe you don't get it for a while yet. So that's the kind of things that I'm trying to understand. And has that changed at all?
No, you and I are both on the same page. The state is very wishy-washy, gray, if you will. We are definitely, as you mentioned, a low COVID-19 prevalence in our geographic area. Now, that's a good thing. We've been keeping it low. I think we're leading the state. I'm willing to bet we're in the top 4 of all counties across the state, and have been, even during some of our worst weeks. That's a good thing. However, it puts us lower in the food chain, the most at risk and the higher incident rates. Suffolk, Westchester counties, Putnam counties down in the southern part of the state are going to see it more. Broome County, Monroe County, Onondaga County, Erie County, those are the hot areas right now. They have higher incidence.
Yeah.
So,
And I wonder where that would like for our nursing homes.
yeah.
Does that mean a 25-year-old first responder in Westchester County would receive the vaccine before somebody that's, what do they call it? Immune system?
High compromise.
Thank you.
Compromise,
A compromised
yeah.
person?
Yeah.
In our nursing home. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But it's something that we.
And the state doesn't have it today either. Hopefully, in the next week or so, they will.
They don't seem to, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yes.
One other question, just to clarify on the response that you got from the school superintendents about the potential of closing between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Where did that go?
The goal was to give it an extra week, at least a week, 6-7 days pause after Thanksgiving weekend, if you will. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, add on 7 more days minimum to allow the kids, if they're going to get sick at home, so they're not spreading it when they're asymptomatic. The schools listened to me. Sable Valley is one point of reference. They opted to do it before I even asked them to do it. City of Plattsburgh opted to do it as soon as they got that one gymnast case with 125 contacts in quarantine. They did it. So we have other schools now falling in line. I have a couple of, most schools are doing that after Thanksgiving. And I think they're considering that, just gonna wait and see how things are for after Christmas and New Year's. So, yeah, it's good to put it in your control. You determine when you want to go remote, rather than a yellow zone in all our cases pushing you and making you do it. Have some control in what you're doing. That was with the way we were trying to push it anyway, right, Mark?
Yes, sir.
We tried. So, it was just a few cases pushed them over the edge, I think, so.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you all. Good
Thank
seeing
you,
you
John.
again.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
Human Services, Mr. Conrad.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. We did not have a meeting since our last meeting, although we did have a poll on resolution 743. And I did have a chance to catch up with Wendy at the nursing home, and it looks like the little shelters or the window visitation should be in place and ready to go on Thanksgiving with little heaters in them. So she opted in the end to get 2 of those little shelters to the windows. And yeah, it looks like by Thanksgiving those should be ready to go. And as far as the interior window visitation kind of viewing room, that's still something that's kind of on the back burner, but for now we're just getting these little shelters in place. And the next meeting is scheduled for December 2nd at 4:15.
Thank you very much. Personnel Committee has not met since the last regular session. The Personnel Committee was polled on resolution number 744, which is on today's agenda, and the next Personnel Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 7th at 4 p.m. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislator Hall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Plattsburgh International Airport Committee met earlier this afternoon. Chris Clerk, our airport director, discussed airline antenna updates. Resolution 745 through 749 have been placed on the agenda, on today's agenda. And as a result of the committee's recommendations, Resolution 747 has been withdrawn. The next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 22nd at 4 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Legislator Castine.
Yes, sir, the Public Safety Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was polled on resolution number 750 on today's agenda. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 7th at 5 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Transportation, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Transportation Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 14th at 5:15.
Okay, thank you. Liaison reports for the Board of Health. We heard from Director Canosa. I have no report to add to that. The next Board of Health meeting will be December 21st at 7 p.m. Community Services Board.
Yes, the Community Services Board met this week. One of the main points of discussion continues to be the housing community that's going in up on Tom Miller and the partnerships of BHSN and ETC that are making that happen. And there was also a Spark meeting at MHAD last week where the Department of Health had a woman in on the Zoom call who was talking about alcohol challenges during COVID times, and something that I never thought of is I guess apparently Uber Eats and Grubhub is the new way that the younger folks are getting alcohol, so that's something new on the map that we're watching out for.
Thank you. Cooperative Extension, Mr. Timmons.
Our meeting was canceled last week and rescheduled for December 1st.
Thank you. Kim, we don't have anything for disciplinary review agreements, right? Intercounty Legislator Walter.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, let's see, we met Thursday, November 19th. The host county, it was via Zoom, was Fulton County. We had Scott Hens from the Fulton County Planning Director give a presentation on a drone that the county uses to evaluate all of their properties and how useful the drone is. We were also updated by NISAC. Seems to be still many more question marks than answers at this point. And a report.
Very good. LC&LG Regional Planning Board.
No report.
Soil and Water.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we actually went back to Zoom and shut the office back down to people coming in with our numbers going up. One positive thing is we actually did receive a grant for a new hydro seeder. Both Clinton and Essex will be both getting a new hydro seeder, and I believe we'll be looking to see if a highway department in the area, whether the county might be interested in the old hydro seeder, or maybe town of Plattsburgh wants a bit on it to possibly use it. It does need some work, but it might be better to, if they want to possibly have one at a reasonable price, might be a good thing to look at.
Okay, that'll do it for liaison reports, unless I missed somebody. I didn't, did I? No? Okay. Staff reports, Ms. Keller.
I would like to request an executive session to discuss a matter of potential litigation.
Okay. Mr. Zerl.
Yeah, very briefly, Chairman, on your desks this evening is the recommended 2021 county budget. If you have nothing to do on Thanksgiving Day, this would be a very, very good read. I want to We'll, of course, go through this document in immense detail, starting Monday and possibly Tuesday, depending how far we get. It is a balanced budget. I'm going to thank everybody profusely Monday, but I do want to publicly thank Kim for her assistance, Lee in my office for her many hours of work, as well as the treasurer's office for their guidance during this process. So it is a balanced budget. It is a strange budget, but I'd be happy to go over it with you in great detail next Monday. Please do a thorough review, and I remind everybody that this is the beginning of the process, and 6 votes changes anything in that document. So, thank you, Chairman. Oh, another thing, to Patty's point, the Association of Counties has a board meeting, Zoom, next week, so maybe I can unmuddy the waters a little bit. Maybe there's some new news. Obviously, politics is consuming or is dictating the decision on the next stimulus package, but there seems to be a desire to get something done. The largesse of that is unknown, and the timing of that is unknown. But as we'll talk about next week, we still need one. The pressure is not gone away. We've successfully navigated another year, but it's going to become more difficult should we not be the beneficiary of some direct state and local aid. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. No chairperson's report tonight. It was covered with our discussion with Mr. Canoza, at least what I was going to bring up. That brings us to the resolutions. Tonight's resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based on large part by the recommendations of those committees. Therefore, Mr. Zerl, will you please read the resolutions to be acted upon?
Certainly. Resolution 733, authorizing the clerk of the Clinton County Legislature to advertise for a public hearing on the 2021 county budget. Legislature.
Motion by Mr. Timmons, second by Mr. Hall. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 734, approving change in meeting date for regular session number 23. Legislature.
Motion by Ms. Waldron, second by Mr. Boddicker. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 735, authorizing contract amendment with Prime Link Incorporated Information Technology.
Motion by legislator Castine, second by legislator Perrier. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 736, authorizing contract with various towns for assisted assessing services, real property.
Motion by legislator Boddicker, second by legislator Waldron. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 737, authorizing contract with various towns for full assessing services, real property.
Motion by legislator Castine, second by legislator Boddicker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 738, authorizing contract with the city of Plattsburgh for full assessing services, real property.
Motion by legislator Waldron, second by legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 739, approving appointment to the Clinton County Planning Board planning.
Mr. Hall, 5-5?
That's
Yes.
Mr.
Go, I'm sorry.
Conroy.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I could just say a word here on behalf of Kim Mannion, who's agreed to take this position. I think Kim is, a lot of you might know her as the business owner down Maui North for decades. They recently sold to somebody else, but she has time to put towards this position, and I think she's going to be a real good addition to the board.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Then 5-4, son?
Sure.
5-4? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Michael.
Resolution 740, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit bids for tax bill printing services, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 741, awarding request for qualifications for auditing services, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 742, rejecting bids for bakery products, purchasing.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hughes. Discussion.
Just very briefly, you might wonder why we're rejecting these bids.
Stale.
The bids are stale. That was funny, John.
See what I did there? I think I don't pay attention.
In an effort to get the lowest prices possible, even though a lot of these goods were available on state contract, we tried to go out to see what individual responses would be. As it turns out, the state contract offered lower prices than the bids we received and more product availability. So we tried, but it failed, and we're going to use the state contract.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Tom.
Could you just explain what we're doing with bakery products to begin with?
Nursing home, jail.
Okay, but it's not,
Yep.
I didn't think, well, people think we're sitting around snacking on it.
Yeah, it's for the coffee room.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Chairman's up. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 743, authorizing contract with E.T. Harrison Son Office for the Aging.
Motion by legislator Conroy, second by legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call?
Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 744, approving backfill of permanent full-time air conditioning, ventilating, heating, and refrigeration mechanic, buildings and grounds.
Motion legislator Henry, second legislator Caston. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 745, authorizing lease agreement HSBP 7118L IN 0426 with the United States of America Customs and Border Protection, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Perrier. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 746, authorizing various contracts for the year 2021, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 747 has been withdrawn. Resolution 748, authorizing contract with Vertiv Corporation, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 749, authorizing lease agreement with Trimilon, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 750, authorizing Operation Stone Garden Grant application and acceptance, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 751, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Workforce Investment Act grant, employment and training.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Castine. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this is this just is the accounting for the discussion that Legislator Rosenquist, the good news that he reported, I believe, at last meeting, that the roadblock allowing for this grant money to flow had been solved, and this puts that $81,000 in an account so it can be properly used by the workforce investment folks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 752, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2020 Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act various program grants, employment, and training.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 753, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Workforce Investment Act grant, employment, and training.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 754, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, Highway.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 755, authorizing the county treasurer to adjust appropriations in various highway accounts, highway.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Carried.
And resolution 756, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for youth recreation, youth bureau.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Anything further to come before the legislature?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to apologize. I'd like to go back to, I voted on it and
Sure.
moved it quick. Resolution 738, the assessment.
Yes.
Why was there a $2,000 increase?
738, $2,000 increase. The deal, the arrangement with the city of, contractual arrangement with the city of Plattsburgh, when we, took over that service via the shared services program, was to charge the actual cost of the cost of doing that service. So if there was an increase in cost to us, that's passed on to the city. Now, that number represents a worst-case scenario.
Oh,
So if insurance, health insurance rates comes down for the two people that are tagged with this program, the cost to the city of Plattsburgh will go down. That last year's cost turned out to be far less than the original contract amount. The contract is the worst case scenario, but it's outlined, whatever the cost is, the cost is. That being said, if the agreement which is in the contracts with the other towns and municipalities, and this contract, is that if we take on, actually it's not in the town, it's in this contract, if we take on additional business, we're able to take on additional business, the revenue would be credited to the city of Plattsburgh account. The goal is to do our best to equalize, no pun intended, all of the rates. This one happens to be higher, but keep in mind, even doing this saved the city of Plattsburgh in excess of $80,000 by coming to the county.
I know. I just was wondering for you.
Anything further on that?
Thank you.
Anything more to come before the legislature?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
Mr. Gaspar.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman. I missed you.
I'm just being ignored at home, very mad. We look ahead to the meeting on the public hearing on the 9th. How big a crowd do we usually get? I'm concerned about us setting an example. We're asking businesses to mask up and keep the population in their buildings down. How big a crowd are we looking at? Would we be looking at doing this at 1:30 Arizona instead of doing it here, if we have a large turnout, potentially?
No, it's a very good question. My sense is that, first of all, we have the room set up, properly. If there's a reason that public hearing is going to yield, an amount of people that's in any sort of violation of any of the rules, we would make sure that those people are housed outside of this chamber. Now, the answer to your question is I'm not anticipating that happening. This budget as you'll read, is incorporates a lot of difficult decisions, but the end result is, negligible increased impact on the county taxpayer.
Okay, but I think it's important that we set the example that we were
I agree with-
asking
I agree
the
with
public to.
First of all, we will not allow that to happen. Second of all, I don't believe it will happen.
Well, traditionally, there really isn't anybody here for this.
Hasn't happened in 7 years.
Anything more? Then I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
So moved.
Potential litigation.
Second. I have a motion by legislator Hall, second by legislator Potiker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're in executive session. Is everybody?
So I need to get that on the record, I thought.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
Motion?
Legislator Perrier, seconded by
Ms. Wolf.
legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. What am I missing?
Motion to adjourn.
I think that's all we need. Something I would like to point out to you. I have a motion to adjourn by legislator Potiker. I have a second by legislator Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thank